first Wednesday of the month. Generally, we had you in just about a week and a half ago. So how's the rain out there right now?
Yeah, it was a little more than what I expected. I didn't. I've got a sweater on here with no jacket, so it wasn't a good plan going outdoors. But yeah, it's like we discussed at the office this morning. It beats the heck out of snow as far as coming down. So yeah, we'd much rather have this rain, and the temperatures that's where they are, so we don't have freezing rain. So yeah, it's and I know the farmers are loving this as far as certainly needing it. We haven't had much snow that's going to make its way into the ground, so this rain is really important as far as for our farmer friends out there.
And I know you deal with a lot of farmers over there in NelsonCorp Wealth Management.
We do. So back in the early days, it was probably about, I'd say 50% of the clients that I work with that were farmers, going back to the early mid-'80s. Since then, just I guess it's a reality of living in the Midwest as far as the old family farm where you had a couple cows and you had some hogs and maybe some chickens and whatever, and maybe 150, 200 acres, and that was the deal. Mom worked in town and Dad was on the farm. Again, that was the type of individual that I worked with years ago, and today a lot of those people don't exist. They've either sold or they've gotten a lot bigger. You just don't hear of somebody with 150 acres these days. It's I've got 300. That's a small operation anymore, and most of them are beyond that as far as size. With the cost of equipment, as everybody knows, it's just gone through the roof, and you just can't make money as far as paying those prices in farming a couple hundred acres. So it's the big operators that are out there these days, and it's a different landscape. So we don't have as many individuals out there that are farmers as far as to work with, and so because of that, yeah, it's the lion's share probably who we're working with these days would be, I'd say 50 as a youngster that we work with, and a reality as far as the bulk of the people are probably 60 to 80 years old, and worked their tail off, put away a few bucks, and now they need to have those few bucks generate a few bucks as far as income, and then trying to put some, as we call it, guardrails around the money and try to protect it from some of these drawdowns that we've seen as far as over the last 20, 30, 40 years. And an average bear market, I think people forget this, is north of 30%, and you take 30% and throw it out the window of a typical client's situation, and they're in deep trouble. So it's really, really important as far as to understand and protect it. And again, the statement that I just love to hear people vocalize is something to the effect that it's but it's temporary, more or less the drawdown. I said, define temporary. I'm just curious. Define that for me, because again, we have people that if they lost 30% of their money and it was temporary, but it lasted, let's say 3 to 5 years, they're now employed somewhere else because they don't have the adequate cash flow as far as to make ends meet as far as in that scenario. So that's what keeps us awake at night, and again, it's really, really important that people understand as far as their situation and the potential for that.
You mentioned earlier in that statement that the youngsters are 50, and then you're dealing with people older in that. I would imagine you would like to see 30 and 40-year-olds coming in to see you.
Yeah, when does it, when do people really recognize the fact that they need to start putting away a few bucks? And for most individuals, it's somewhere around age 40. Estate planning and retirement planning, the light switch goes on for most individuals somewhere around 40 years old. It's getting a little late then. I mean, it's a heck of a challenge as far as to get back in the game as far as in any significant way, as far as if those individuals want to retire at, say, 60, 65 years old. That's going to be tough as far as to amass the kind of money that they need. One of the duties that I have each year is I speak at to the graduates as far as at Ambrose prior to the graduation ceremony taking place. And so a lot of these individuals, again, the goal is to try to shake them a little bit and, try to, about reality. So my instructions are pretty much just to talk to them about life and about money. And so I wander all over the place depending on what questions that they may have. But the meat of it would center around trying to get across to them that an individual that starts at, say, age 22 and puts away money until age 60 versus the individual that starts at, say, age 40, the difference that they have to save just to get the same amount of money. And in most situations, depending on the interest rate assumption, you're talking about triple. So for most individuals, it's just not going to happen. So the goal is to try to get people in the habit of putting away a few bucks. And, these people are college graduates. They're bright people. And hopefully, again, my goal each and every year is to, have impact, hopefully, on just a few of them as far as that are there. Hopefully, everybody learns something. But will they act upon it? And the goal is to try to speak to them in such a way that they'll act on it and again, put away a few bucks today, and you'll be shocked on how much money you're going to have down the road.
You mentioned St. Ambrose, and I know you've dealt with them for a number of years. How did that connection come about?
So day one, we've had a lot of clients as far as that we've worked with as far as down there prior to this relationship. And through our company that we clear through, explaining clearing is kind of tough, but in order to access Wall Street, we have a clearing firm, and that clearing firm is called Cambridge. And Cambridge had a relationship with TIAA-CREF, which is a money management firm that most universities have. Was a non-for-profit, no longer is a non-for-profit. But that relationship existed as far as there, and we were told about it. We thought, interesting. We could take this relationship, go to St. Ambrose and say, hey, we can come in here and we can help you folks through the TIA program and again, help these individuals as far as the professors, et cetera, put away a few bucks and give them a little more guidance than what they were getting. So it started with that, and then that led to individual relationships as far as some of the key people there. That then led to, hey, some of the stuff you guys are talking about, some of the younger, the kids that are in college need to hear some of this stuff too. So it's grown into a really nice relationship, and it's clearly from our perspective, it's a nice group of individuals, as you said earlier, as far as getting those 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds to start saving. That's been our goal and objective, and hopefully we have. Many of the people aren't staying in the area, so you really don't know. So you explain it to them, and hopefully they find somebody, if they move to Florida, and somebody down in Florida that they can, organize and put this stuff together with as far as in that relationship.
So you speak to them. Have you ever considered being a professor or doing something like that, David?
No.
Teaching a class?
I had people say, you missed your calling. This was a person in Fulton. This is probably about 35 years ago. And he used two examples. He said, as far as going down the teacher route, and I said, I teach each and every day as far as individuals. But the other part of it is, he said, I can see you on Sunday morning on TV. You've got this, attitude that I think would fit very well on Sunday mornings as far as this upbeat, positive type energy and whatever. And I said, there maybe I'd consider something like that. But
Evangelist Dave Nelson.
Exactly.
Coming up will be a check of our 1545 weather.
Take advantage of the tax season savings going on now at Clover Hills Appliance and Mattress Center. Save on GE washers and dryers, refrigerators, ranges, microwaves, and dishwashers. Save on Sealy and Tempur-Pedic mattresses, along with Speed Queen washers and dryers. Don't forget their largest selection of recliners and lift chairs in the area, all at the lowest prices. Shop Clover Hills Appliance and Mattress Center in Clinton and Sterling with better prices and better service than the big box stores. You can't go wrong.
At Snell Zorning Funeral Homes and Crematory, pre-planning your funeral arrangements allows a less stressful environment, provides a record of your wishes, relieves your survivors of emotional and financial burden, and allows surviving family members to concentrate on the memories of a lifetime rather than the details surrounding death. This is Mary Rupp, Family Service Counselor at Snell Zornig Funeral Homes and Crematory. For more pre-planning information, give me a call at 242-0252. I can help.
If you're looking to buy a new mattress, recliner, or lift chair, head to Premier Home Furnishings in Clinton. They have over 19 mattresses on display, from firm to pillow top, traditional to adjustable. See the new Nectar mattresses and lift beds on display. Look over their large selection of recliners starting at $399 and a great selection of lift chairs starting at $799. Free delivery and setup available. Come to Premier Home Furnishings, 2001 Lincoln Way in Clinton. Phone 563-243-0332 or online at clintonpremier.com.
It's time now on KROS for the Storm Track 8 weather forecast, brought to you by Prairie Lumber.
A weather impact alert continues for this morning. Dense fog and some heavy downpours will be likely. Then drying out for the afternoon and skies clearing. We'll see highs in the mid-40s today. For tonight, skies go mostly clear again and lows will drop to the chilly mid-20s. With your Storm Track 8 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Currently, we have rain and a temperature of 39 degrees, winds out of the east at 15 miles per hour. This weather report on KROS brought to you by Prairie Lumber.
Having adequate kitchen storage is necessary. You also want your cabinets to be functional and attractive. That's what Marilat Kitchen and Bath Cabinets from Prairie Lumber in Fulton offers you. Choose from the Marilat Classic, Basics, or Masterpiece collections to fit your design and lifestyle, with the accessories and hardware to give you the customizable options you want. So if you're building or remodeling, visit the showroom today and discover the wide variety of Marilat cabinetry available at Prairie Lumber, 912 2nd Street in Fulton.
You can trust Monks for your complete auto maintenance, from oil changes, brakes and transmissions to steering, suspension, and AC. Monks also sells tires, provides 24-hour towing, repairs on foreign and domestic vehicles, and does unlocks. For all your auto repairs, see Monks Auto Repair and Alignment Center on North 2nd Street next to Superwash in Clinton.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
See Housing Gay and We're Gay Insurance in Fulton. Phone 815-589-2255 or stop in today.
We can do it. Need a new roof, new siding, a new deck, doors, windows, or remodeling work? Kramer Construction of Clinton can do it. They're a local family-owned business serving this area for 45 years and have been voted #1 in the Clinton Reader's Choice Awards for the last 3 years, building your visions and creating reality. Improve your home, improve your life. Let Kramer Construction, 2020 Comanche Avenue in Clinton, do it. Phone 563-613-3437 for a free estimate.
Men's Day, we've got Dave Nelson in studio. I always forget to do this. I don't know why. Kansas City or Philadelphia? Who do you like, Dave?
Man, I got to go with the heart. I'm going with Kansas City.
All right, very
Midwest,
good. You're the
yes.
first one to go with Kansas City. We've
Okay.
got 2 Philadelphia, 1 Kansas City, but I tell you what, it's hard to go against Patrick Mahomes.
It is. I mean, he has just unbelievable success. Just finds a way to get the job done. I mean, they've had just so many ugly wins this year. I mean, just at last 5 seconds of the game, somehow they pull it out, whatever, and it's just holy buckets. But maybe their big run has come to an end. I don't know, but I don't know. East Coast doesn't do much for me. West Coast doesn't do much for me. I'm a Midwest guy, and so I'm rooting for Kansas City.
We talk about Patrick Mahomes and certainly the job that he does on the field, but Andy Reid,
yes,
my goodness, he came in,
yes,
turned the culture around,
yep,
was bright enough to draft Patrick Mahomes,
yes, exactly,
and then exactly know what to do with him.
It's shocking. I mean, as far as you look at his resume in Philly, I don't know. I don't remember how many years he was out there, but couldn't get the job done supposedly. Whatever. There's a lot of good coaches out there, and again, Kansas City took a chance. Has brought this guy in, as you said. The culture is different, and again, maybe it's the Caitlin Clark thing. You take Mahomes out of there in 2 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be. We'll see if he's able to get the job done. Coaches are crucial, and you look at the number of coaches. I used to kind of joke about as far as, this football team has, how many coaches down there, holy buckets. But, you look at it, the complexity of the game and all the different decisions that have to be made. I guess you really do need that head count as far as that they have. But he's done a remarkable job. And, you look at it and, when did you ever see Kansas City, anybody really care about the Chiefs around the Midwest here where we are as far as 10 years ago? Nobody gave a hoot, but there's a lot of bandwagoners now that I'm still a darn Bears fan, and I'll continue to be a Bears fan, but at the end of the day, I kind of enjoy watching Kansas City, and yeah, if they can put it to Philly, that wouldn't bother me at all.
Now, you brought up Caitlin Clark, and of course, you still go to the University of Iowa basketball games, but my goodness, I would imagine there's a little bit of a different feel in the arena without Caitlin Clark there.
There is, and we have 7 tickets that I bought, my wife and I. We really enjoy going to the games and whatever, and all the home games we're going to, etc. And I brought up this last game. I had 5 other folks as far as that came with us. And I said, the atmosphere is so different. So it's probably 10 minutes before the game, and you look around the stadium and you're saying roughly 50% of these seats are empty at this point. So in other words, people are getting their popcorn and ice cream and whatever. But I'll guarantee you, last year and the year before that, at 10 minutes before the game, those seats are full. They are full. We want to watch Caitlin Clark warm up. We want to watch Caitlin Clark do this, get a drink. People are just nuts about it. And so it's a different atmosphere. The only one that was different this year, and again, I've been to all of them, was Iowa State, when Iowa State came in. And I guess there was enough excitement and energy as far as the 2 programs going head-to-head, what have you. And the place was just, it had that vibe from last year. And last year, I said, it reminded me, I chatted with my sons about this one day. I said, back when they were young, Michael Jordan, that was the heyday as far as the Bulls. And I said, you'd turn on the game and you just expected to win as far as with the Bulls. Last year, the year before, as far as the Iowa Hawkeye women, it was that same feeling. You just expected you were going to win as far as that game. And this year, you don't have that feeling. A couple of games you kind of do, but the bulk of the games, you're hoping for a competitive game, and you're hoping we can pull it out as far as the end. But being realistic, we got a pretty young club and a lot of inexperience. And when you lose Caitlin Clark, that in crunch time, everybody handed her the ball. They didn't want the ball. Now those individuals have the spotlight on them, and it's a whole different approach as far as some of these players.
And of course, her number's going to be retired this Sunday, and
Yes.
Southern Cal is going to be in, and they've got Juju Watkins, who's quite a talent as well. But wanted to talk a little bit about the realignment.
Yes.
I think there's 18 schools now.
Yes.
In the Big Ten.
Yes.
And UCLA,
Yes.
Southern Cal,
Yep.
Oregon. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep, it really is. I don't get it. They understand the money, and this is all about cash flow. And each program, my understanding is, and this was public, so I'm not sharing anything that's not public, but it's a good guess. It's, I think, $100 million Oregon got, UCLA got, USC, and then there's one other, Washington, as far as to come into the Big Ten, as far as that last round of the West Coast teams coming in. $100 million, that's pretty hard to walk away from. But I just look at it, and what's baffling to me, again, just running a business, is how do you justify, loading up a airplane with 5 golfers, 10 golfers, and send them from Rutgers, out on the East Coast, out to UCLA to compete as far as out there. I presume that's what's happening. I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. Basketball is one thing, and yeah, you're biased because you coach basketball and you like basketball. Okay, I get the theory of that, but the reality of that is that basketball, there's a lot of people in the stands that are paying admission as far as to get in. Golf, you don't have that. And I love golf. I'm a golfer, and I love golf. Track, you don't have that. Softball, you don't really have that. I don't know how you can mathematically make this stuff work. And, as you brought up as far as during the commercial there, as far as the extra heads that are involved now too, as far as behind the scenes, as far as coordinating this stuff, it's off the charts. Doesn't make sense to me. And the Big 10 is the Big 18 or whatever. It's just wild. But there's so much money at stake today. And football supposedly, carries the bulk of these, expenses as far as what I would several years ago, 6 games, and I think it was $89 million in revenue. I mean, that's just mind-boggling to me as far as the impact that can have. Basketball last couple of years, I know, mushroomed up in a big way, grew massively as far as the women basketball, but we'll see going forward without Caitlin Clark and, maybe a superstar of her caliber. Can Iowa sustain what we've got going as far as the excitement and whatever surrounding the women's basketball? You, of course, have been in business for years. Does what is taking place in college intrigue you at all? No, it doesn't. No, I get it, and I've said for years, the NCAA, I mean, the amount of money that's being generated as far as that level, and where's it going, and, I used to think, and boy, this could potentially step on some toes here, but I'm going to say it anyways. You look at it on a state level, and when we finally made it to state with my basketball team, how that was handled and the money that's handed out and how when you host a team that comes in, what the state gets as far as from that. Again, you look at that amount of money coming in the door, and then you look at the amount that you get when you send your team to state. There is a hell of a difference as far as between it, and not very many teams get to state. So it's I don't know. It seems like a money grab, I guess is the way to cut to it, and certainly the NCAA. My God, that makes this at a state level look like peanuts, and it is peanuts in comparison. So yeah, not a big fan. And you deal, of course, with athletes. Yes. And are you dealing with any collegiate athletes? Not yet. You see that coming? Probably at some point here, it makes sense. I mean, again, sheltering some of these individuals from themselves as far as making some bad decisions is one thing. The other is just, having credentialed people out there that are giving advice and, again, holding hands and being a partner to these individuals versus just, being an advisor. And I think there's a big difference. I take a lot of, I said my coaching days, I said the best part of it, I think, for the players was that I wasn't coaching basketball. I was basically coaching what felt like my own kids, and I was preparing them not just for basketball, but preparing them for life. And I think that's a skill that's really, really important as far as to share good as well as bad stuff that can happen. And again, I think at the college level, it's even much more important as far as to grab some of these people. These checks are getting very, very large. Some of these individuals are getting, and again, many of them don't have any trusted individuals around them that can lead them to somebody that can help them make the really important decisions. As always, we appreciate your time. We'll be talking to you again shortly. Yes. Wednesday, February 5th. Look forward to it. We'll talk a little more business at that time. So, I mean, just in a real quick nutshell, how are things going right now in the market world? The market world, things are moving along. I mean, if you look at performance as far as year to date, it's been really, really good. We're nervous, as is pretty typical. That's our job. But I wouldn't recommend people go out and charge in after 2 huge years for the market. We've got to believe that the volatility we've experienced so far this year will continue, and it'll be it's important to protect the capital that you have. All right, very good. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you on the 5th. Thank you, Gary.
Stock up on winter savings this week at Fairway in Clinton. All natural 8-ounce boneless pork chops, 2 for $4. USDA